One of the things, again, and we've had this debate here in India back and forth, again, with these content curators and aggregators, the platforms, they say that if you were to regulate it, certainly through government legislative intervention or any other form of governmental intervention, that would be an assault on freedom of expression. Where do you draw that line?
Well, exactly. That's what I'm just touching on, really. I think some countries and cultures have a stronger attachment to the principle of freedom of expression and publication in news and choose to express it in different ways around legislation. Personally, I'm just working on the what's happening in the UK. I think, in general, it is possible to reach the right solution through strong independent regulation and boosting a quality news industry. So I think one of the issues that we're working with here is just beyond the BBC for a moment. There is, the economic factors at play in the commercial news market at the moment are eroding the ability of content publishers to publish in real quality at scale, because for all the reasons that we know, advertising is in a difficult place. Digital advertising has very low margins. It's very reliant on kind of click-through and poor quality click numbers. We'd be talking about this if we were at an ad industry convention. And I think part of the solution has got to be in the commercial news market about making quality content pay, making it viable. Because if you end up in a sort of race to the bottom where the economic and commercial imperative is just to publish lower and lower quality news, that in effect saturates the market with low quality content. And what we need to find is both for public service broadcasters like the BBC or in your own market, and for commercial news providers to be able to make a viable commercial business out of providing really good content quality.
It's always a challenge, isn't it, as traditional media content creators. You're basically competing with that guy who's put up that YouTube video of dog eats man or man eats dog. How do you, without having a revenue model, where at least in India we haven't come to a stage where people are paying for news content, how do you fight that battle? How do you fight the man eats dog YouTube video?
Exactly, and I think if you're a news publisher, if you're a commercial news publisher, you have to kind of stake out your ground and fight for your ground, don't you? You have to say, we are simply not going to get into the clickbait, poor quality clickbait game. And we're going to find an alternative model that is either around perhaps something like subscription, or is around some kind of reader revenue operation, or is around kind of charging higher marginal advertising rates for a clear quality proposition that reaches influential high net worth spenders, or whatever your commercial strategy is. And I think we have to, as an industry, be prepared to do that, because otherwise you do end up, and if you're just chasing clicks, there will always be this kind of race to the bottom. I think the BBC is very lucky. I mean, we do have a commercial news arm. If you watch BBC World News or use bbc.com in this country, you'll see advertising, and including on the language service sites. We believe in participating in a commercial model. But at the heart of the BBC is a public service organisation that is, at least in part, publicly funded by every single person in the UK. And that, I suppose, insulates us a little from the kind of naked commerciality that can be detrimental to the overall quality of the market.